So I just watched Green Room, and let me say right off the bat that this movie is brutal. Like, there are two types of film violence: cathartic, flashy violence like you'll see in Tarantino films, and visceral, realistic, brutal, nasty violence. And this movie is definitely more the latter. It holds no punches, and if you don't cringe at the violence in this film, then I honestly kind of worry about your sanity. But I'll get to that stuff later. Let's talk a bit about this movie. Green Room is written and directed by Jeremy Saulnier, which I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. But he also wrote and directed Murder Party and Blue Ruin, which are both movies I've been meaning to watch for a long time. And based on what I've seen so far from him, I'd say he's a filmmaker to look out for. But I'm being presumptuous considering I've only seen Green Room so far. But I just want to say I thoroughly enjoyed this film. I definitely can't say it's perfect, but it's damn good in accomplishing exactly what I feel it set out to do. Green Room is about an indie punk band who does a concert in rural Oregon at a neo-Nazi bar, but after a successful show they walk in on a murder and shit just goes downhill from there. The movie starts off kind of slow, trying to introduce us to the main characters, and honestly it kind of failed, I think. I got the basic ideas of the characters, but they were mostly just kind of one-dimensional. However, they don't really need to be any more than that. It's one of those movies where the events happening to the characters are more important than the characters themselves. The characters are more supposed to just be catalysts to the audience experiencing the insanity that commences. Speaking of insanity, it's almost immediate that shit gets real, like within the first 15 minutes. You don't really even get to feel tension build before it just suddenly blows up. But before it gets there, it can be pretty boring. Along with the aforementioned character building, there's also these scenes of the group just driving, stealing gas, making plans, etc. All while this generic meditation type music plays in the foreground with generic shots of scenery and close-ups on faces and, you know, all that stuff you'd see in an artsy indie movie. And those things definitely have their place, but it just didn't seem to fit in this movie. It happens like 5 times in the first half hour, and it honestly took me out of the film and bored me. But after you get through that, shit gets real. The strongest point of this movie, I think, is just how unpredictable it can be. It's very good at foreshadowing, building up, and paying off. The foreshadowing can be fairly predictable at times, but just how those elements are used can surprise you more often than not. I don't want to ruin exactly what happens, but let me just say, Nazis fucking suck. Like, really bad. I hated Nazis before this movie, but this movie definitely helped me strengthen that hatred. Oh, Death, but it's just a movie. Okay, fuck you, okay? Fuck Nazis and fuck people who accept Nazis or any other hate group, plain and simple. Anyway, the Nazis in this movie don't play around at all. They're serious business and it legitimately scared the shit out of me. Fun fact, this movie took place and was filmed outside of Portland, Oregon, which isn't very far from where I live. The idea of Nazis being anywhere near me? Well, it's not a fun idea. Speaking of Nazis in this movie, the leader is a certified sociopath and a real son of a bitch, played by Patrick Stewart, who most would know from Star Trek and X-Men. He's probably the highlight of the movie, even though he wasn't in it as much as I wanted him to be. He's a real villain to be afraid of. He's not over-the-top, eccentric crazy. He's downplayed, maniacal, and dirty as fuck in his tactics. As the film progresses, you see him getting angrier as things go more off the rails, and Patrick Stewart still plays it more low-key rather than a full-on blow-up, and it just works so well. He is a true actor and really made the film all the better. Unfortunately, I can't say much for some of the other actors, especially the main one, who is just dull and empty most of the film. There are great moments, but I feel like he was just empty for most of it, which can make sense for the situation, but I still felt like it was off and a little boring. I really feel like they shouldn't have had a main character right off the bat anyway. Like, they basically tell you, look, this is our main guy, and it kind of kills some of the suspense in the later half of the movie. If they would have just not singled out that one character, and trust me, you'll know who it is in the first few minutes, then I feel like the movie would have been even more unpredictable and much stronger. But really, that's pretty much all I can think to say about this movie. Overall, I really enjoyed it, and I'm definitely going to watch it again sometime. It's definitely not for everyone, especially neo-Nazis, but if you like horror, tension, and unpredictability, I'd say this film is for you, as long as you can get past the sheer brutality inflicted on the characters. Definitely don't watch this if you can't handle blood, and especially if you can't handle gore. Anyway, I hope you guys all enjoyed my first official review on my channel, and I look forward to doing more. If you've seen Green Room, what did you think about it? I'd love to hear in the comments below or on my Twitter @DeathBlackWish. Also, if you'd like to help me out to keep making content for you, why not check out my Patreon? It's not required, of course, and I have no hard feelings if you can't spare anything. But if you can, the link is in the description, or just look up Death Black Wish on Patreon. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. I know it's different than my past content, but it's something I've really wanted to do. Thanks again. Have a most excellent life. Death out.